Nobody in the village asked where she got the bones. They were too busy asking for more soup. The village of Uncle had a rule that everyone knew and nobody said out loud. You did not go to Mama Ekore's compound after dark. Not because she was dangerous. At least, that is what they told themselves. You did not go after dark because of what you might smell coming from her kitchen, and worse, because of how much you might want it. Mama Ekore had lived at the edge of Nku for longer than anyone could remember. She had no husband, no children that anyone had seen. What she had was a kitchen that never went cold and a reputation. People said her food could cure grief, could make a broken man feel whole again, could make a woman forget why she was crying. People said a lot of things about Mama Ekore. The problem was they were all true. His name was Kofi. He arrived on a Thursday, which in Nku was already a bad sign. Thursdays were the day the market closed early, the day mothers called their children inside before sunset. Kofi did not know this. He was not from Nku. He had walked for 2 days. He had not eaten. He had not slept. He had lost something, and he did not even know what it was. He only knew the emptiness of it, the shape of something missing, and somehow his feet had brought him here. She opened the door before he knocked. That was the first thing that should have made him turn back. I know why you came, she said. Not a question. Kofi opened his mouth, closed it. Sit, she said, and he did. Because when Mama Ekore told you to sit your legs, decided before your mind could argue, she did not ask him what he wanted. She already knew. He watched her hands move, adding things he could not name, pouring from a jar that had no label. And then she reached beneath the stone counter and pulled them out. 3 bones, long, smooth, white. Kofi had grown up in a household of hunters. He knew every bone of every animal in the forest. These were not animal bones. His mouth opened. Don't, she said quietly. You will ask me questions you are not ready for the answers to. She placed the bones in the pot. The liquid changed color immediately, from black to deep dark red. The smell hit him first. It smelled like his mother's kitchen when he was 7 years old. It smelled like the first morning after his first heartbreak, when the world still felt survivable. It smelled like the exact moment before everything in his life went wrong, like a door back to a place he could never find again. His hands were shaking. What is in this? He whispered. Mama Ekore looked at him for a long time. Everything you lost, she said, and the bones of the people who could not carry theirs anymore. On the first spoonful, he remembered his father's voice. On the second, he remembered why he used to laugh. On the third, he understood what had been taken from him, and by whom he did not cry. His body did not have the strength for crying anymore. Instead, he sat very still, the way a man sits when something locked inside him for years finally, quietly opens. Mama Ekore watched all of it. She always watched because she needed to know before she explained whether he was strong enough to hear it. The bones, he said finally. Whose were they? Mama Ekore folded her hands on the table. People who came before you, she said. People who carried grief so heavy it was killing them. They chose to leave it here, with me, in the pot. Kofi stared at her. They gave you their bones? They gave me what their grief had become, she said. When sorrow lives in a body long enough, it mineralizes. It becomes something you can hold, something you can cook with, something you can pass to someone who needs to remember they are not the only one who ever broke. The lamp flickered, and the people who gave them to you Kofi asked. Mama Ekore looked at the pot. Free, she said simply. Finally free. Kofi left at dawn. He did not say goodbye. Mama Ekore did not expect him to. But as he walked the dirt path back toward the village, something was different. The weight he had carried for 3 years, across 2 days of walking, into a kitchen that should have frightened him, was gone. Not forgotten. Gone. Like it had been handed to something larger than him. Something that knew how to hold it. He would never come back to Uncle, but somewhere in a pot, over a fire that never went cold. A small piece of what had been breaking him was now feeding someone else back to life. Nobody in the village asked where she got the bones, because deep down they already knew. Some of them had walked to her door themselves at 3 a.m. with something inside them that had no name but was heavy enough to kill, and she had cooked it out of them, bone by bone, grief by grief, soul by soul. Mama Ekore was not a witch. She was something older than that. Something the village needed but could never say it needed. A woman who took what was breaking people and turned it into something that could save the next person who came to her door. That is the oldest kind of power there is, and the most dangerous, because once you know someone can carry your pain, you will always come back with more. If this story stayed with you, if you felt something sitting here with me tonight, then you already belong here. Subscribe to Moonlight Tales by Joy. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a story tonight, and leave me a comment. Tell me, what would you give Mama Ekore to cook away? The next story is already waiting, and trust me, it is darker than this one. Good night.